Welcome to Generative AI Tools. My name is David Fliesen and I'm from Cibola Studios. And I recently did an animated short up for Halloween. It's called Witches of Salem Forest. And I live in a place called Pine Forest. So it's kind of a twist on that using some of the themes of things in my neighborhood and such. But I wanted to work in some things with the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus, also the witch Samantha Stevens from Bewitched. So I put these together, but I also use a lot of AI tools because I'm a one-man shop here, you know. So I do voice work, I do animation, I do character design, environment design, and things like that. But a lot of times I'll use AI because it can help me do things a little bit quicker than if I had to create everything from scratch myself. I mean, I have a tablet and everything, but it's a little easier when I can use my words to describe things and create them, um, which is a little bit of a struggle at times. You'll see in a little bit here. But I want to introduce you to artificial intelligence and how it can be used. So let's take a look. First off, as I was putting this together, I had a scene in here where I wanted to do a side-scrolling scene because we have children around here that a lot of times are bahaing on their parents' golf carts, and they're going at speeds they shouldn't be going, and maybe they're a little too young to be driving that golf cart in the first place. So I was trying to bring the message home, but do it in an entertaining way. So I wanted to have a scene that kind of gave them an idea about there are consequences when it comes to driving these golf carts around at fast speeds and such. So let's take a look. I could have done this inside of all inside a Cartoon Animator, but I'm more of an Adobe person. I'm used to Adobe workflows. So, oh, there's my cat. She's always here messing when I'm trying to work. That's my cat, Bootsy Bell. So as I'm working on this, I make the each of the carts. I'll show you. I created these golf carts, and again, I used AI to describe what I wanted the golf carts to look like, and it created each of them. And I can show you too. I'll bring it up here so you can see the full thing. So I created the cart and then I put my character inside of it. I did have to split it up into layers so I could have a foreground and a background of the cart and things like that. And I just simply attached the character to it. I didn't animate it. I didn't animate the character's face or anything like that, or the wheels, because I just wanted a very short sequence, and I was kind of a little bit pressed on time too, to get it out the door and get it done. So, if you get it too far after the holidays, nobody watches it. So, all right, so I have it there. Oh, I gotta bring it back to because I didn't do it starting at frame 0. I did it at frame 1. So, I basically have it animated like this. She comes onto the screen, so she enters the scene, and then she starts bouncing around, kind of like Flintstone style, like Fred Flintstone would do in his vehicle. And then this is basically going to be to simulate a background where she's entering into the background, and then the background starts moving behind her, as if like very, very much like a side-scrolling game, if you're familiar with those. So I made up one for each of the characters. The other two, they just cruised across, but her I wanted to be a little bit different because she was going to be the main character that you're waiting for at the end. So let me show you how this works. All right, so this is Discord, and if you've never seen Discord before, it's kind of like Skype or other voice over IP rooms. Basically, in here, I can talk with other people that have common interests with me, and I can set up these things called servers, which you see on the left-hand side here. So, for example, if I set up my own Discord server for Midjourney so that I can keep all my stuff together. I had a company I was working with doing motion capture. I set up we have a server that's set up for that. I do volunteer work for Avicon. So you have all these different things for your different interests, Adobe Express, things like that, Kit Bash. And in this case, I set up my own server for Midjourney, which is a AI art generator. Now, there's many different AI art generators. This one I find to be very good as far as the style goes, and there's a lot of options and ways that I can tweak it. So, in a way, it's like you're still painting images, much like a painter or a digital artist do, but you're doing it with your words. And a lot of times it takes a lot of finesse to get the words just right. Like I'll show you this one here with the dog. First, let me show you what that looks like. Pretty scary, huh? Okay. I had seen one with a cat catching a or stealing a fish, and I wanted to do something like it with a dog. So this part right here is what is called the prompt. So this is what I wrote to describe what the image would be. And I wanted to describe it kind of in layers. So things in the foreground, things in the background. So I have frontal layer, low angle shot rather, frontal low angle shot of a dog running in foreground with stolen sausage links hanging from its mouth. Now, as you see, it didn't actually put any in its mouth because the AI sometimes just chooses to ignore things. It's kind of like a little kid. You have to kind of finesse it and figure out how to bait it so that it does what you need it to do, and realize that sometimes you're going to ask it to do things and it won't do them. Also, you have to watch out for things in your images too, because this guy might have 7 fingers instead of 5. Or as you can see here, he has some kind of really weird eyes. If that's something that's a problem, then you regenerate it again, or you change your prompt a little bit so that you get it just the way you want it to be. But basically, I described what I wanted the scene to be, and I kind of did it in layers, and then I had comma, and then I put what the style was. In this case, I wanted a photorealistic style. Other times I might want to have something that is a style that is, cartoony, or cartoon I use as a term as well, or maybe even anime style. You can do all kinds of styles, different paintbrush styles, if I want a certain type of art style. The one thing I will mention there is you need to be responsible as an artist, that the things that you're doing aren't taking away from what other people are doing by just copying their style. But it's kind of a gray area right now, because I mean, in reality, when you paint something, you're influenced by things. So you have models that you're building inside your head of what you enjoy. If I like Norman Rockwell stuff and I'm painting Christmas stuff, I might be looking at some of Norman Rockwell's things to kind of get a similar style and feel to it. I'm not copying it pixel by pixel, but I'm kind of being influenced by that style. And that's basically what the AI is doing. Now, there's some cases where it's a little bit more blatant than others, where it feels more like it's copying. And that's really where it gets down, I think, to the artist and how they use their brush. I think personally, Leonardo da Vinci, if he was alive today, he would be using AI. Now, it wouldn't be his only tool. It's one tool in the toolbox. It's not the only one. So these are some ones that I've been generating for different projects. And you got to watch out too. Sometimes it makes things just a little creepy, you know. I guess that cat's not too bad, but I have gotten some that were kind of strange. Um, but like you can see these ones here, this is using a watercolor style. Okay. Um, and this one I used a retro style. Just give you an idea. Uh, yeah, there's Ric Flair. Woo! Those of you that aren't familiar with him, you missed a lot. I grew up on wrestling as a little kid. All right, here we go. These are the ones that I did for the project. So it's a golf club community, and I wanted everything to have a very similar look and feel. So another thing you can do is when you're creating something, if you want it to have the same look and feel as something else. So these are the ones that we're working with. Um, this took me a while to figure out because everything I was doing was giving me like straight on shots or 3/4 shots, and I wanted ones where it was going across. And I had to ask in some groups to figure it out because everything I was doing wasn't working. And I finally got this one here. I said elevation view with row of 3 rich country club homes with Halloween decorations, comma, night, comma, anime style, and then I had the dash dash AR for aspect ratio, 16:9 for 16 by 9, which is a widescreen format. So when you're doing stuff for, HD 1080, that's going to get you pretty close there. You might have to stretch it a little bit, but it'll be pretty close to fitting on the screen. But your dimensions are definitely, your aspect ratio is going to be correct. So I did up a few of these, and the way this works is you type in your prompt, and with Midjourney, it kind of depends on which AI you're using. With this one, with Midjourney, I have to type in what is, so on the bottom there where you see it flashing, it says message, and then it has a # general. All right, so I'm going to put a slash. And as you can see, as I'm putting this, it's saying these are all the things that can possibly be used like that. So imagine, and then I go space, and then it's already, when I did the space, it puts the prompt thing in for me automatically. I could have typed it out, but it's automatically putting in. So this is what's called a prompt for an AI. And now I would type out what I wanted. So if I wanted it to be elevation view with row of 3 rich country club homes with Halloween decorations, comma, night, comma, anime style, and spelling does count, by the way. If it comes out funky, go back and check your spelling. A lot of times that's what the problem is. AR 16:9. All right, so there we go. I got that. And then I just hit enter, and then it will give me, we'll go ahead and we'll do it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold off on doing it because I want to show you one with the Norman Rockwell style. We're going to try that out for the Christmas challenge that we're doing right now. So I'm going to say Norman Rockwell style. I'm not necessarily going to say night for this one because it can be day, with Christmas decorations. And in this one, it's going to be an elevation view with row of 3 homes in London with Christmas decorations. Okay. So we're going to try that one in a little bit, but what I want to show you before I do this is how these are, because we're going to take a few of these out as well. And I'm going to actually copy this in case something gets messed up. I'm going to just, let me see, I should be able to copy that. Let me exit, okay. All right, I just cut it. So I've got it. All right. So when I generate one of these and I put my prompt in there and hit enter, it'll go through and it will make these images for me, and I'll have to sit there and watch it. It'll take a little bit of time depending on what my settings are and my preferences. But I'll get this at the end. When it finally says 100%, then I can come in here and I can look at it and I can see these are the images it generated. Now I look at it and I say, that is right on the money. That's exactly what I want. I can say, okay, I want number 1 and I want to upscale it. What upscaling is it's going to redraw that image, and it's not going to stretch it like if you stretch something in Photoshop. It's almost like vector in a way, even though it is pixels, because what it does is it makes it bigger, but it doesn't make it lower quality. Because what it's doing is it's actually looking at it, analyzing the model, and then redrawing it from scratch. So it makes it larger, and then even if you don't make it large enough in here, you can also take it to other AIs and upscale as well. And by the way, they also have this for video. You can actually upscale video. So if you have an old, VHS tape or something, or maybe one of those old Super 8s or whatever, you can actually take that stuff and make it larger and make it, so it fits on a 4K monitor and looks good. It takes a lot of work, but they do have that stuff available now too. And it's still in its early stages, but it's going places. All right, so I have these. I can do the U's, which are upscaling, so that will make it like this was one image instead of four. So if I pick number one, this is one on the top left. Top right is two. This is three on the bottom left, and then four is on the bottom right. So U1, 2, 3, 4 are the upscalers. The V's are variations. So if I say, okay, out of all these images, as I can see here, I only like two of them. I like number one and I like number three. I didn't care for these two, so I didn't use them for one reason or another. This one was in the wrong perspective, and this one I think had too much in the sky. Okay. And then I can say variations, and then what it does is it kicks out four more images, which are variations of the one that I asked for. Okay. So I have those, and then the other one I have here is this circular thing where it's like regenerating. You're telling it to do it all over again. So it's like you roll the dice and you don't like what your dice roll is, you roll it again. And sometimes with AI, you got to try that a few times to get something. But a lot of times you have to go in and you have to copy your prompt and then make some modifications to it. It's kind of like when you're painting and you're changing out your brushes. You're finding that using that thick brush isn't working quite the way you wanted it to, so now you got to go in and do more detail work. It's the same kind of thing, but it's with words instead of paintbrushes. So I have these, and I take the images once I get them, and I upscale them. So as you can see here, there's an upscale, and you can also open this in a browser, which is a little bit larger, but you're not going to see that because I don't have the browser set up to show in this video. All right, so but here you got the image, and as you can see, each of these ones that I generated are very similar. They have the street at about the same perspective, the same location more or less, a little bit different. And if there are things in the top and bottom that I want to change up, I can do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to manipulate them inside of Photoshop. So let's go to Photoshop now. So what I'm going to show you here is how you can take multiple ones and basically work them together so that you can generate something that is multiple AI created. Where is, I have to find this. Let's see. Credits. Swamp home with layers, mailboxes. I think it was in the backgrounds. I'm trying to find where I put this. Is that the row of homes? Okay, so you can see here, this is what I made in the end of it. But I'm just going to simulate this because I don't have all the files still, I think. But what I might have had is I might have had something like this. I'm going to copy this 3 times just to show you. This is just a simulation, folks. So, I'm just masking these out so that I can make it look a little bit like what I had. And we'll do the one over here, let's say. Okay. So let's say in a case like this, and I can go a little bit smaller on this one too. Let's see. Okay. But this is just to simulate. So, I mean, they'd probably have all been the same size. But what I basically did is I arranged these so that the street view would be about the same location. Okay. And now in this, what I do is I come up to the very top and I'm going to add a new layer. And on this layer, well, actually, I don't need to add a new layer. I'm going to merge these so I have it all as one. That makes it a little easier to work with. I'm going to use my selection tool and I'm going to select all the areas that don't have content. And you see this thing down here where it says generative fill. And this is in Photoshop. If you guys aren't familiar with Photoshop, it's an image editing software package. And in the last month or so, they made it so that you could use the generative AI for your for-profit work as well as just doing it for fun. So a lot of the software, Microsoft, a lot of other companies are starting to work it in. So I select all of the areas that don't have image in, and I simply hit the generative fill. See the generative fill thing here, I can click in here and I can type what I want it to be. If I wanted it to have a sandy beach, it would fill that in. I'll show you once real quick. So sandy beach. And I just hit return. It's going to come up on the top there. Let me just give you an overview before we get in and start seeing what it can do with just a generative fill. I said sandy beach and it gave me a little bit of sand at the end here, but you can see it filled in most of the rest of it like it was a street block. But you see here it has a little thing in the center. It says 1 of 3. I can go through it and see there's 2 of 3 and there's 3 of 3. But it's just a layer that it put on the top. So if I don't want that anymore, I can turn it off, or I can take in that layer and put it into the trash. But the other one you have is when you select all those areas that you want it to do something, you just come in here and you say, and you don't type anything, you just hit enter. And when you do that, it says, hey, you didn't tell me what to put there, so I have to make everything look like it fits together. And in this case, it's going to automatically generate what it thinks should go in between those images. And boom, there you go. Now, granted, you can see a little bit of pixels at the top and the sides. What I do in a case like this is Control T for transform, and I hold down my Alt key as I'm, before I do that, I have to flatten the image. We'll just flatten it all the way. Oh, and as you see, when I flattened it, it did this. It made it, but let me go one other way, because if you ever have to do it, I'm going to tell it to merge in this case. And if I did have to stretch it, what I can do is just stretch it just a little bit so that it makes sure it goes past the edge of the border. In this case, it was fine as it was. It was showing it like it had an edge, but it didn't. So there you go. And I mean, that looks pretty good. So you have a scrollable background here that you can use, and that's what I'm going to do for the Christmas challenge. I'm going to make one up like that for the place in London. In fact, let's go back and do that once real quick. I got to go back to Discord. Okay. So since I have that prompt already, okay. Control A, delete. Okay, so it's slash imagine. Well, all lowercase I usually like to use. And then space, and then prompt automatically comes in, and I put the elevation view in here. Let's see what comes up. Oh, it says I have an invalid prompt. Param, let's see. Slash imagine prompt. All right, let's see. I think it's the AR part that it doesn't like. So it's showing a param should become that param. Where is it giving me that for? All right, I'm gonna just put it in here without the 16:9 part, because I'm pretty sure it's that part that it's doing wrong. For some reason, the dash dash is not submitting it correctly. So let's just take that. It's /imagine. And it's like anything else. Sometimes you just have to test the waters. I go back to prompts I've done before and take a look at those to see something in the syntax I might have had off. You have to look at that to see. I just ran into that in the last day. It might be something with the newer version I'm using. So it's coming in with these 4. That's kind of weird too, that it's coming in like that instead of, oh no, that's right on the sizing. Okay. A lot of times I'm doing this on an iPad, so I'm not used to it being this much space on the side. So as you can see here, it comes up with 4 of these views. And okay, so now they all came in. And I can say, okay, I kind of like this one for Christmas background. That would be kind of nice. So this is number 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to upscale that one, which is number 3. So I upscale it. Okay. And then I'm going to click on it and I'm going to save it. And we'll just put that in my downloads folder. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is go back up here and I want to do variations of 3. So I have multiples of it that are a little bit different. I have remix turned on. Maybe that's what's causing the problem, is the remix. I'll have to see. I was trying this thing called remix I'm trying to make cartoony versions of real life places using AI, and remix is supposed to be able to do it, but I probably have to study a lot on it to get it to work just right. So here we come in, and then we have 4 more versions of it that are a little bit different variations of it. As you can see, it's kind of fuzzy because right now it's at 93%. And there we go. Now we got it at 100%. And there we go. So what I can do now is I can go into these and say upscale 1, upscale 2, upscale 3. Let's see, upscale 3, upscale 4. And now I have 4 more images that I can use. So I can take a look at this. And I can save this image. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. So now I can take these images and I can put them together. I can stitch them together, letting AI do the stitching for me. So again, that's back here in Photoshop. But I'm not going to get into all that at this point. You saw the process. It's the same thing. So let me show you how this basically worked in Premiere. Close out all these and get to Premiere, where it is. Okay. So this is the scene here. And let me get to the, so what I have is I got the witches here and they've just been fighting with each other. And then there's going to be a golf cart scene. So I wanted to have something that was entertaining, that the kids in my neighborhood would see it and kind of get a laugh out of it, but maybe it would sow a little seed in the back of their minds that, hey, maybe I shouldn't drive so fast when I go through, or maybe I'm too young to be driving a golf cart. So, trying to add a little bit of stuff that helps, for messaging as well at the same time that I'm entertaining. So I'll show you a little bit of this part here as we're getting in. Let's see. So you have the 2 sets of witches meet.
You think you can stop us?
Because my magic is pure,
I will protect this place from your evil schemes.
Sisters, we must ride.
Joy-riding sister witches three tempted fate for all to see. A short time for them being back as they met their end in a cul-de-sac.
So the way that I did that part with the Vincent Price voice, and I used AI for his voice as well, by the way, that was me talking. Um, Basically, I brought my background in here. I kept it in one place until the right moment, and then I had it start to side scroll. So this this sister here, the Sanderson sister, she, the blonde, she's the one that is basically driving this. And then the other ones, I just have them as layers, and I'm simply making it go across. And then when it gets to a point, I bring them all back together for the crash scene. And then I had one of Desart's effects that I also exported out as a layer that you see does all that effects on it too. Now, I could have done all this inside of Cartoon Animator 5 as well, but I prefer, especially with sound and things, to control things a little bit more. So I like to use it in a video editor like Premiere in this case. And since I didn't need to do any special effects other than the stuff from Cartoon Animator, I didn't need to take it into After Effects. So I have that go. And the nice thing with this is it wipes. I love how he did it so that it wipes the screen completely, because then I can take to another shot. See that? So that's how I used it and worked it together. What you can also do on these backgrounds is inside of Photoshop, if you don't want something that's in a picture, you just highlight an area and you say, put this there or remove this, and it'll do that as well. But as you saw here, we were using both, we're using two AIs. We used the AI for Midjourney, which was inside of the Discord program. And then we were also using the Photoshop. And there's other ones that are out there. Like I said, there's Bing is one that might be free, I think. Adobe Express has some AI stuff in it as well. I don't know if it does exactly the same as Photoshop, but it's probably fairly similar. But that's how we were able to make the backgrounds. Oh, the other thing I forgot to tell you is you can also, let me show you one last thing before I close out on this with the animated short. Let's see, where is that? That's in Discord, right? Yeah. Oh, cat's back again. Sorry. CA5. Discord. Oh, man. I'm not going to get there. I'm going to have to edit that. Okay. Well, that's it. And let me just show you what the animated short looks like. What I was going to tell you is that you can also go back and make modifications to things so that you can take things out of the image or you can add them in by simply highlighting an area. But I think I showed you enough to give you at least the basics to play around with. Depending on the AI, some of the prompt stuff's going to be a little bit different. You have to play around with it. But I think you'll really find it enjoyable, but also be responsible in the way that you use the tools. Again, it's a tool. It doesn't replace actually being an artist. It's just, it's a different tool that you use as an artist. So I'm going to show you one more thing. This is the animated short. I thought I'd just share the whole thing with you as well, if you like. And I'm going to go full screen on this. And this is the Witches of Salem Forest.
As sunset dims and darkness grows, golfers drink amidst their woes. Magic brews circumstance and pomp, as three witches rise amidst the swamp.
Salem Forest, we're back.
To take the golfer's greatest source of power. They're balls.
No mortal can resist a black magic woman. I must stop their dark magic.
These metal chests must hold their magical balls. Then Cantrum Paxum Castarius Monstrum Romulus Turbulus Golf Cartus Tremendous. By the power of witchy might, this is our decree. Transform our rides for none to see.
Stop, Sanderson sisters. Your wicked plans end here.
Oh, look, it's the Goody Two-Shoes witch. What makes you think you can stop us?
Because my magic is pure, I will protect this place from your evil schemes.
Sisters, we must ride.
Joy riding Sister Witches 3 tempted fate for all to see. A short time for them being back as they met their end in a cul-de-sac. No golfers' balls were taken tonight. No souls trapped in endless fright. For Goody Two-Shoes, which Sam taught the Sanderson sisters again.
We put a spell on you, but now we're gone. Gone, gone, gone. Racing golf carts like you at speed so wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Our wretched little lives have been cursed because of all the naughty witches. We're the worst.
That was a lot of fun to put together. And I had some good talent too that I was working with, some friends that voiced the female parts. I did one of the female parts for the blonde witch, and I also did the announcer for the beginning and the ending of the Vincent Price voice, using AI in both cases. But that was fun, and the music is, you'll see here where I got my music from is a great place to get soundtracks. Just make sure you give credit to the developers that created the music, or make your own. I do that a little bit too. Yeah, we'll see it here. Yeah, Pixabay. Pixabay is a great place for music. You can look it up by genre, which is really helpful, and audition it before you decide to download. So,
See what happens when you ride? Amok, 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 amok.
yeah. I thought it was cute to put something at the tail end of the credits, because you don't get to see that too much. Well, hey, thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you, and I look forward to seeing what you guys produce. You know, good time of the year right now with the holidays. You know, get folks thinking about animation and trying out some new things. Use each one of your projects to push your skills a little further. So, thanks for tuning in.
At Siebel Studios, we make your brand unforgettable.
We could help make your message visual and entertaining to boost your social media impact with affordable solutions like doodles, 2D animation, and even 3D animation. Siebel Studios brings your brand to life in a memorable way.
The water temperature is just right. Dive into animation with your free Siebel Studios consultation today.